Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to The Wind Waker. In the last episode, we defeated Mulgira, beat the Wind Temple, reawakened Makar as the Sage of Wind, and got our kind of Master Sword restored, then did some shit around the Great Sea. This episode, we're actually, you can just see it on the horizon, we are returning home to Outset Island, where we have some important business to conduct regarding the first of the kind of Triforce Shards we've been set together, so I will see you there. So, Outset Island. We haven't been here for a while since we got the kind of hurricane spin, and this will probably actually be our last trip here because we've got pictographs of everybody, and there's one final thing we need to do on the island, and it's what we're here for now. Now, you can technically do what I'm about to do before the point that we're at, but I'll explain when I get there why that's more difficult, because what we're going to do is, standing on this specific little platform here, what we can do is whip out our hook shots, and grapple, ooh, there we go, grapple up there. You can technically glide up here, like from the peak of the island, kind of up where the bridge is. You can glide here with the Deku Leaf, slightly more challenging, but you can do that at any time, and then chuck that away, and there's a hole. Now we come to one of the kind of most important dungeons of the game, in a sense. If we speak to this rock, it says, "The Savage Labyrinth. Deep down in the never-ending darkness awaits. Deep in the never-ending darkness, the golden shard you seek awaits." So, that's kind of cool. Guess they give us some kind of fairies for the journey. Actually, I've got a spare empty bottle. I'm going to grab one of these fairies. So I've got, you can't see, but on the bottom screen, I've got 3 fairies and Grandma's Soup, which is pretty cool. Got full hearts, a lot of magic, and a lot of rupees and the magic armor. Make sure, I've got full bombs and full arrows. Make sure you are very much kind of like heavily armed when coming down here. You will need it. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up a fancy visualizer, because the way I'm going to do this is it's going to be mostly edited highlights, because as we drop down here, you will see a lot of enemies. We're on the first floor, which is populated mostly by Keese, so I'm just going to kind of kill them with mostly the boomerang as the most effective thing here, just because it doesn't have any ammunition, but you can also stab them if they're close enough to you here. But yes, there are 50 floors in total, each of which has having slightly harder enemies than the last. You'll see one of the floors, like partway down, is marked in gold. That's the one with the Triforce Shard in, but there's actually something all the way at the bottom. So I'm going to go through there. With each floor, I will show on that visualizer which item there is there, like what enemies are there, and then otherwise I'll just be showing kind of like general highlights from each floor. So, that's our second one down. Let's go on with the Savage Labyrinth. You know what, I'm just going to shoot the fuckers. That one went through the floor, that was strange. You can see that these early few floors are actually pretty straightforward, so basic stuff, but believe me, it gets harder quick. Well, not so much harder, just more difficult. That doesn't make any sense. Motherfucker, yeah. Don't know why I said motherfucker there, but it seemed like the thing to do at the time. Ow. Ah, they hit each other, that's funny. Oh, hey! Oh, I'm never gonna get tired of that move. That was pretty cool. Didn't actually kill everyone in one, but hey. Now, we actually come to something interesting here, worth talking about. This is a rest floor. There's one every 10 floors. They contain a portal back out to the surface if you want to back down, and then some chests? Jars. The small jars just contain kind of like healing items, and then just like recharging things. The big jars each contain about 100 rupees in small change. So that's pretty cool. Head into the light if you want to if you think you're not going to be able to make it further and don't want to die. But if you're like me, wanting to go all the way to the bottom, then we continue down to the next hole. Next hole? Continue down through the hole to the next floor. As much as possible, I would recommend like using renewable weapons like the hookshot and the boomerang that don't have ammo, because ammo can be limiting. Like with 99 99 arrows and 99 bombs, you are unlikely to run out, but still it's just something you don't want to, it's a situation you don't want to be in if you can avoid it, so boomerang and such are recommended. It's also worth noting that there are, as I say, there are 50 floors split into kind of sets of 10 with a rest floor at the end of each. Ow. And you'll notice the first 10 felt kind of like Dragon Roosty and had those kind of enemies. Now these later ones kind of feel much more like Forbidden Woodsy and have those kind of enemies. With there being 5 sets of 10 floors and 5 major dungeons in the game, yeah, you can kind of see an interesting little thing that's going on there. That was embarrassing. There we go. God, we can kill them in like one hit now. That made them look incredibly easy. Huh. Also, in case you hadn't noticed, you may or may not have done, no enemies ever drop anything here. Like, not even, like, obviously they don't drop like special things like kind of Baba Bud, like Boko Baba seeds and stuff like that. But also, they won't even drop any healing items. Your only chance for healing are what you bring or what's on the rest floors. This floor has jars on it, so you might think, huh, they're giving us a kind of like healing thing. No, they're not. They're all Bokoblin jars. Trollololol. Let's just go and activate all of them actually. When there are Mothulas on the floor, like here, it's best to kill them as quickly as you can, just because otherwise they spawn Morths, and then everything gets more irritating and difficult because of that. Oh, haven't seen these bad boys in a while. Fire arrows, ridiculously effective against the winged Mothula. Obviously you don't have fire arrows the first time you fight winged Mothulas, but hey, worth knowing. Second rest floor, excellent. So that means we're 20 floors down. Could I have no magic? That'd be kind of useful to have some magic. In fairness, I think Grandma's soup heals magic and also makes you kind of more powerful. But hey, let's continue on down. Whee! So now, if the first ones have been Dragon Roost, second ones have been Forest Haven, we can accept back to the next 10 floors to be Tower of the Gods themed. And this is where stuff starts getting irritating. Stop doing this. Hit it when I almost do that weird hitbox thing where you can't hit them properly. Well, I need to use a spin attack. Spin attack can go through walls for some weird reason I've never quite worked out. As you can see as well, on a floor where you require bombs, they do provide them. Obviously, we've got nearly 100, so we're fine, but they provide them just in case. Technically, there's, like, consumable arrows, like bomb items, like bombs and arrows, you should never actually need, because you don't really need them to kill anything. Ah, Pikachus. Goody. This is irritating. Oh, that worked, kind of. Oh, I took a lot of damage there. Well, I didn't actually. Each one of those hits only took a quarter. Felt like I took a lot of damage. Definitely got hit a lot. Yeah, if you're ever missing anything as well down here, it's a really good place to get it. Just like if you're missing either like drops from enemies like Knight's Crests or skull necklaces, or if you're missing just some pictographs again of mundane enemies like he's stuck halfway up a wall. Like Dark Nuts or anything like that. You encounter most enemies over the course of this, so it's a pretty good chance to get them, because you can technically, don't know why you'd want to, but technically do this as many times as you want. Oh, wizards. Because you can technically do it as many times as you want, then you can always reliably get a few enemies down here if you need pictographs of them. Now you're getting an idea of how mad shit can go on this in this dungeon quite easily, and this is one of the more sane floors. As you can, oh god, as you can imagine, the further down you go, the more stuff. It's not just throwing harder enemies at you, but it's just more at a time with various other little irritating things, which obviously you'll see within the next few minutes. Now, some advice, this will prove useful in the long run for fighting kind of multiple Dark Nuts, is generally just kind of focus on one and try and get a parry off on it to kind of like dishelmet and de-armor it. But once you've kind of de-armored one, then switch your ult targeting to another, focus on parrying that one and taking its armor off, and then kind of, you'll realise once they've got their armor off, multiple Dark Nuts hit each other really easily, so that's kind of worth it, and that's a useful tactic. Now, you can see we're at another kind of rest floor here, but this is a kind of slightly special rest floor, so first I'm just going to kind of gather all the shit from here. Get a fair few rupees. If you want to use like the magic armor down here, you get more than enough rupees to kind of actually fuel it for this thing, and if you've been following this guide along, you'll have a lot of rupees, so that's pretty useful. But now what we need to do is well, this should say what this is. This is designs that reflect the wind are drawn here. So, as you can imagine, play the Wind Requiem. I can always remember them fine, it's just for some reason on recording it's always kind of like freaks out slightly. But anyway, when you play the Wind Requiem, kind of awesome windy chest thing happens. And it's a special chest. Let's see what's in it. I wonder if you can guess. Indeed, it contains our very first Triforce Shard. You need 7 more shards to form a complete piece of the Triforce. So that's cool. Some of them come in the form of charts which need translating, others just come as, which then kind of lead to a sunken shard, others just kind of give you the shard straight up. But yeah, we can use that to kind of like get down here. Now this is what I said, like you could come here earlier. You can come here anytime after you've got the kind of power bracelets, so you can come here before you've beaten the Earth Temple. But if you haven't, then you won't be able to get down to these lower floors. You need the mirror shield to get down here. So that's kind of cool. This isn't cool at all, though, but at least they provide light here for the lasering of these propellers. Oh, I broke its grasp. That was awesome, because I was in the process of jump attacking when it turned on me. That's cool. And again there, that works. Okay. Note to self. Well, note to self and viewers. Launching at the Redeads with a jump attack can sometimes kind of stop their freeze attack from working. Worth knowing. As you can see, we're into the kind of Earth Temple zone now, so get used to coming across irritating enemies. Like cursed bubbles! These ones, they're even worse when they throw you cursed bubbles alongside, like, normal enemies, because then they curse you and then you're just completely defenseless. Shielding, it does stop their curse from hitting you, so like if they hit you and you're shielding, the curse doesn't affect you, which is useful, but you kind of have to really keep your wits about you when you're fighting cursed bubbles with other shit around. Oh, there's still one over here. I thought I'd done them all. Burzap. That was awesome. And smashy. Man, that looked cool. At this point, as you may have noticed with that kind of last few enemies, like last set there, the idea of the kind of themes of each part has kind of gone to shit a bit here. On this floor, I would focus on the redeads. Kind of, if you hit the moblins while trying to hit the redeads, that's great, but if you're fighting a moblin and a redead then kind of takes a swing at you, well, like, with moblins, if you're fighting a moblin and then like a redead freezes you, you can actually be dealt quite a lot of damage quite quickly, so it's definitely worth focusing on the creepy zombie bastards. Yeah, take that, you bitch. Also, yeah, there, noting, I'm coming up with all these notes along the way. If morphs appear on the floor, you don't have to kill them to progress, but they will irritate you if you don't. Oh, pose, goody. Oh, possessed. Yep, that was going to happen eventually. At least it kills the Poe. But generally, if you can kind of work out which direction you're going, you kind of... Ooh, no. It kind of doesn't really matter. Because if you're L targeting, you can kind of just move towards an enemy. Oh, God. If you're possessed as well and walk into the light, kills the Poe instantly and kind of throws them out of you, which is pretty cool. It can actually be somewhat of a useful tactic to kind of take them out quickly. But it takes a while. Useful tactic to take them out quickly, but it takes a while. That doesn't even make any sense. Take them out effectively without having to do any kind of fighting and stuff, but yeah, it takes a while. I'm fairly sure as well, I've not confirmed this, but I'm fairly sure that when you're possessed, it doesn't fuck up the controls, it just inverts them. Like, it doesn't make them randomized. So, like, if I hold left here, I go right. So, like, basically the movement controls are just back to front. Now, I mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to mention it again just to make sure it's clear. On a floor where there's anything alongside cursed bubbles, focus on the cursed bubbles first. Make sure to kind of bring your shield up whenever you're near a cursed bubble, just because... then that way you can kind of like bounce it off like that, and then that gives you a quick second to be able to get a Deku Leaf out and kill it. Well, disarm it. Not sure even why it gives you light in this room, unless there's something I can't see, but I don't think there is. Does light do anything to Stalfos? No. Maybe light disarms cursed bubbles, I don't know. Now, the final rest floor before continuing onwards. This one has no healing items, interestingly, but a lot of money. We're going to be on like 3,000 rupees after this, that's awesome. So, I'm actually going to take advantage of the moment we're briefly here and just heal up. So I'm having half of my grandma's soup, because you can have 2 helpings in one bottle, which is pretty cool. So now you'll notice my sword, as well as glowing with the yellow, is also, with the Master Sword's like general inner light, there's also glowing yellow. I now do double damage until I'm next hit. I will be hit quite soon, but I mostly did that, not to heal health so much, but to heal magic, because it's kind of useful in these coming floors. Oh, goody! Right, let's see if I can... If you get a chance to kind of let off a hurricane spin, it's gloriously good fun in here. But... you know what, actually, I'm just going to go... come on. Hurricane spin or doing like the sideways sweeping spin with the hammer is great for taking out mini-blins because they just go flying. Hurricane spin is fun there, but it's difficult to let off just because you'll be swarmed so much. What's the deal here? Oh! Hello, choo-choos. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to try hurricane spin here as well. You know, that was exactly as much fun as I hoped it would be. Except we're still surrounded by bloody Pikachus. I'm taking a lot of damage. Oh, no, God. This is what I mean when I say the later floors really just kind of like pile it on. That it's not because you're fighting difficult enemies. It's just usually this tends to be more enemies than... well, more individual enemies than you've ever faced at the same time in these lower floors. So, as I've taken like 4 or 5 hearts already. But we have got 3 fairies and another round of soup. So, we should be fine. Still planning to not die through this LP. Reckon I can do it. This will make me 2 immortal LPs in a row. Interestingly, this one has a switch. When you press it... Whiz robes! All of the whiz robes. I think a couple of these are yellow ones. No, actually, no, none of them are yellow ones. That's pretty useful to know. So they can just fireball you, but either way, arrows are your friend here. just use your... Make sure you use your L target and... Oh, there we go. 2 regular arrows is enough to take out a regular Wizrobe, so... Another excellent opportunity for the Hurricane Spin here, which I'm going to really throw my back into. Whee! Even though the green ones aren't killed properly by Hurricane Spin, they're just knocked aside, but hey, God is it fun. Whee! Whee! Get away, motherfuckers. No light? Okay, so we've got Redeads with no form of light source. That's irritating. Again. Oh, nope. Hurricane Spin does bugger all against a Redead. It still got me. I was hoping the same thing that's true for the jump attack might be true for the Hurricane Spin, that scream at you doesn't work, but it does. Oh, there's a Stalfos limping his way into me. You can kind of, the Stalfos, if you position right, the Stalfos can do some damage to the Redeads, so you can kind of utilize them somehow, but it's not a particularly reliable tactic. Jump attack trick seems to work well. I enjoy that. Now is when shit starts getting interesting, because we get these kind of pillars around. Any enemy that's wielding a big weapon, like a Moblin or a Dark Nut, can crack the pillars, which is kind of cool, and then they fall down. Equally, when we're wielding a big weapon like this, we are perfectly capable of cracking the pillars. They can fall down and occasionally do damage to enemies if they hit them just right. Again, it's not a reliable tactic, but it's good fun. That's definitely not your weapon. Oh. I would say on this floor, it's probably prioritize the Wizrobes, just because until you start attacking them, the Dark Nuts never run towards you when they're fully armored. They just walk, so you can kind of just lead them on a merry dance like I'm currently doing and take out all the Wizrobes. Also, yeah, the sides of this room are electric, because why the fuck not? When you see this many bombs, you know it's going to be a fun level. Actually, I don't even remember this one. 3 Stalfos, that's really odd. Either way, maybe bombs are effective against them. Oh, right, that's worth knowing. Bombs blow up Stalfos in one, like at least kind of bring them down into kind of head mode. So that's cool. Let's see if we can set any more of these bombs off. You know, actually, we've got a load of bombs. I'll just happily chuck these around and see what happens. It's also worth noting you can only have, like, you personally can only have 1 bomb on the field at any one time. Apparently, I only learned that while doing this the first time, but yeah. If you have any more... Oh, that one's reforming. Not even sure we've seen a Stalfos reforming yet, but there we go. Sometimes they, like, depending on how much damage has been dealt to their other body parts, sometimes they reform improperly and are just, like, missing a pelvis or something like that. The bombs on this floor are as much of a hindrance to you as well as they are to the enemies. Like, as you can see, sometimes you just take a lot of damage from them. Oh, this fucker's reforming again. And we've taken a fair bit of a beating as well. I'll probably heal after this. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a swig from another round of potion. Interestingly, yeah, blue potions and Grandma's Soup are the only things that heal you fully. Even a red potion only heals you like a few hearts. Well, 8 hearts, which is a lot. But when you've got this many, Grandma's Soup is the shit. Oh, goody. So these Dark Nuts actually have a bloody crest. They still aren't, like, special ones. They're not the final type of Dark Nut, but they look scary, as you can see. Then on the walls, you will see these statues that are, like, spitting fire at you. You can't kill them, and indeed, you don't need to. But stay the fuck away from the walls. Just disrobe him. Disrobe. De-armor is what I meant to say. Alright, we've pretty much got them all armored, de-armored now. And as you can see, they start doing a lot of damage to each other. It's pretty useful. Just need to disarmor these two. We're taking their helmet off. Like, with their helmet off, they can be dealt damage by other Dark Nuts, which is worth knowing. But they look kind of like the Batman, their face. De-armored that one. Excellent. Oh, they're all de-armored now somehow. Okay, I'll go with that. Now you can basically just hammer B. I'm pretty sure this is the last floor as well. Check the visualizer viewer, that will let you know for sure, but I think this is the bottom. As you can see, these kind of crested Dark Nuts, even though they're not their own species, have a hell of a lot of health, like they can take a proper beating. And just like their attacks are so much faster than normal ones. And you've got the flamethrowers around the edge, just in case everything wasn't scary enough. Right, that should be everything on this floor. Yep. Let's see if that was the final floor, or did I lie? Nah, it was totally the final floor. So, special chest here. Open it up and get one of the most unique items in the game. Actually, most unique items in Zelda. There's not really anything else like it anywhere. Indeed, this is the Hero's Charm. This mystical trinket gives you the ability to see the life forces of your foes. Touch its icon on the equipment screen to equip it. So it's weird because it's not in the items, it's on the second screen on your menu, and when you poke it, hey, Link gets eyes and a beard, which is kind of weird. Ha, that rhymes. But it means that if you're in a boss fight, the boss's health appears on the bottom of the screen, and if you're just in a normal fight with a normal enemy, you see the health of the enemy you're L targeting, which is really cool. But I don't know how long this episode's been, because it's going to be really heavily edited, so I hope it's been around 20 minutes, but it might have been less or more, but either way, I'm going to hold it here. So thank you very much for watching this episode of the Wind Waker, where we have successfully got our first Triforce Shard. In the next episode, we'll be going around and gathering some more Triforce Shards. Shards. Idiot. Thank you very much, and good day.